He's a fine man.
But he never did charge me
That's
$50 the whole thing.
one thing.
Well, he never did charge, none of us. I know one time, we'd killed hogs. Well, it was in the spring, I'd cut a ham, took it up to Jimmy's Hickey's there and had them slice it. And for some reason, I had to go by his office that day, and I said, "Doc, you like country ham?" And he said, "I can't afford it." He said, "I never get to eat none." And I said, "Well, I'll bring you some." And I took him about 5 slices, that center cut. Son, his wife wrote me the nicest letter you ever heard. They wasn't often they got somebody to bring that to them. And he didn't, after that, he never charged me a dime. It didn't matter what I went to him for. And didn't charge much to start with. Doc Charles one time, and go to him and he'd paint your throat and give you aspirin. Ask him how much you owed. $1.
Phil, how old was you when you went in the Navy?
18. I just graduated from high school.
Did you just decide that's what you wanted? Did you do it because your daddy said it, or what?
No, I'd always wanted to be in the Navy. But
No jobs around here.
I was a homesick fella for a couple of weeks.
Well, you looked up to your daddy and you wanted to do what daddy done. A lot of, I think that's what you
After a
did.
couple of weeks there, and got to knowing everybody and all. Heck, I was right at home.
How long was you in?
4 years.
What kind of ship were you on?
LSD.
What's that?
Landing ship dock. We carried small boats to land Marines, frogmen, and everybody.
Where all did you go?
All up and down there from Panama to the Arctic Circle and to Mediterranean, Istanbul, Turkey, and
Really?
and
Greek Isles and all that?
Yeah, Greece and Naples and Gibraltar, but mostly all up and down. We was from Cuba to the Arctic Circle every summer.
You see, a lot of time you were in the down there in South America type.
Yeah. Never did get to cross the equator. Always wanted to.
Well, if you're in the Arctic Circle, you cross the equator. Oh, you're talking about north. North, you're talking about Arctic, not Antarctic. Yeah.
The equator's in the middle.
I was thinking he was going down to the southern.
No.
And not Antarctic. You were at Arctic.
No, I crossed the Arctic Circle 4 times.
So you're like going up through Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, up that way. Yeah.
We helped set up that, or carried the Marines or Army, and set up that long-range radar up there, the first to set up in NORAD.
And Dad, you went in the. When did you go in the Army? What year was it?
61.
And that you got drafted. That bothered me shooting that thing at you. Like I said, it's pretty. See, what?
Got a personal letter from President Kennedy.
He needed you.
Did you keep it?
I still got it down there.
Have you?
We keep everything.
Had you tried? Now you had tried to enlist in the Navy, but you never had tried in the Army.
Tried the Navy and the Air Force.
They didn't want to take you because you fit. And the Army drafts you.
Yep.
Well, this boy that left here with me, Jesse McKinney, he failed physical in Ashland, Kentucky when we went there, and 3 months later they drafted him in the Army. He passed.
They didn't even look at my foot, no.
Didn't even look at it. You didn't show it to them.
Put it on my papers. That's all I had to do.
And they never even gave you a physical on you. Look at your foot.
They give me a physical. Bend over and spread your cheeks.
Dang.
Ask if you could walk
Keep your
out.
towel on you.
Keep your towel on, yep. He asked me if I could walk, and I said, yeah. And he said, can you wear a shoe? And I said, yep. And that was about the extent of it.
Could you run then? At that point, I mean, could you?
So,
Did it bother you a lot? Did it bother you at all when you were doing your training and everything?
a whole lot.
You never complained about it or anything?
No, I was was in boot camp or nothing.
You didn't want to complain if you didn't have to.
I didn't go to, it was 6 months before I went to the doctor with him.
When they got you out of boot camp, where did you go? You went to Fort Jackson for your boot camp?
Fort Jackson, then straight to Fort Hood.
And you Fort Hood the whole time?
I know, Fort Campbell, Fort Stewart,
Where's Fort Campbell at?
Kentucky.
Fort Stewart, where's that?
First Airborne.
Missouri,
Fort Stewart's in Georgia.
Georgia. I was thinking,
See, I thought you were at Hood the whole time, because
Well, that was the home base, but we traveled around quite a bit.
Mom was in Texas, right?
Yep. Went from Jackson.
well, now that's where that shooting was, like in Fort Hood.
And they had a shooting down there at Killeen, you know, where that went in and killed.
Yeah, that was like in a restaurant or something.
Justin was out there, but he was at the Air Force Base in Texas.
Lackland,
I guess it.
It's,
No,
out of Amarillo.
how many times?
it was down close to the Mexican border.
That's the Amarillo there. They had a big Air Force base there, Fort Hood, Gray Air Force Base, I believe it was.
I can't remember. Anyway, he took his MP training there, and
That's out
then
at El Paso.
I think maybe it probably was, and then shipped him on to Edwards Air Force Base there in California. That's where he's at now.
Well,
Anyway, it's in Kentucky.
Because they sent me.
Why?
Went to school,
Right.
jump out of airplanes.
Oh, crazy.
now what'd you really do in Kentucky?
That's 101st Airborne,
What'd you really do there?
whatever they told me. So
Well, no, seriously. You were the office guy the whole time, or
I
what?
worked in the office up there,
They
yeah,
had to take computer training.
computer training. Then went back to Fort Hood. Then the Cuban crisis come up and went to
Fort Benning,
Fort Stewart,
Stewart.
And where's Fort Stewart at?
down next to Savannah. And after it was over, went back to Fort Hood.
So you just moved you around wherever they thought you. Just like kind of the way the Army is, I guess.
Say something on the news this morning about Castro. I don't know what it was.
You
They
got
sat
him.
in the field when they called you in to go to Cuban crisis.
Did you have to
That
get?
was worse than people thought.
Yeah.
But this now releasing a lot of stuff
Yeah.
on that, you know. That,
Well, see, now we were in Cuba there when Castro was fighting back in the mountains. We
Yeah.
could hear him shooting back in there.
yeah.
We was down there in Havana at that time.
What was Havana like back then?
Wild.
Was it not? Well, I mean, I've always heard Havana was just one of the greatest cities in the world before Castro took over.
It was.
Well, tell me about it. This is about what,
You don't want
1950,
that on tape.
1960 something. A bunch of hookers and bars, huh, and clubs and stuff like that.
Whatever you wanted is there. No, it was a nice town. I mean, it really was, and the people were nice. But we was all over the Dominican Republic and San Juan. Nastiest place there was Port-au-Prince, Haiti.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's one of the poorest countries in the world.
They got resorts down there. I guess white people gone in and bought bunches of beachfront and made it into like super ultra resorts, and they say you go outside the resort and it's just awful.
Oh, it is. They had, you'd see them back there in the mountains, that voodoo dance and all. You'd see fires all over the side of the mountain up there where there's, I don't know what they're doing, killing chicken and eating them.